not a picture. Hey, my name's Mike. This is my wife, Amanda, who's laughing at me because I was. Thanks, Amanda. She's very supportive. Um, Basically, I'm talking about a surgery I had today on my left hip. It's I have a left hip impingement. Call it FAI. Longer term, I won't get into right this moment because it really doesn't matter. But there's excess bone around where the ball goes in the socket in the hip, and basically I've had on both hips this problem since I was born, the deformity, but they didn't start giving me problems until I was a teenager, almost 20 years old. And these problems have developed worse and worse over time. Usually flare up, inflexibility when I've exercised, and I've had a lot of back problems for 2 years now. I'm 33. And so I've had this problem for quite a while, but it's finally come to a head, and I had to do something about it. So um, basically, I'm wearing glasses inside because I do that. No, uh, she's shaking her head. Yes. No, there's not. I'll edit that out. So I was a candidate for surgery. Thankfully, I've been to all these back doctors about my back, and they cannot figure out why. My back's hurting. I've had bulging discs, herniated discs in the past. They're in the L5, L4, the low discs in the lumbar, and can't figure out why I'm having such pain. Pain shooting down my legs, basically crippling pain at times when I work too hard. Uh, I'm a lawn company, work outside, and uh, so it was time to do something about it. Went to all these back doctors, can't figure it out. Had 4 epidurals last year, nothing. Very little pain relief. Finally, find a hip doctor who thinks that this problem my hips I've had forever could be linked. So enough of the details. Got surgery today, and basically they're going to go in and at first shave some of the bone down. They said they can't find from the MRIs, and sometimes they do a dye injected MRI. That's usually what they do. They didn't this time because they didn't. But I didn't want to get 2 MRIs, but because the doctor said he's going to go in there and look for anything that's messed up. Well, when he gets in there, he finds a whole lot of mess. Cyst lesions, which are formations of the cartilage down there when the bone doesn't have any place to go. The bone's too big for the socket because of a deformity, or it can develop calcitis over time. And basically, a lot of bad things start hurting in your hip and other areas because your hips are very important. They support your upper body, basically this core of your body. I tried to stretch. I tried to do everything possible. What I didn't know is a lot of these things in there were already torn up. And when I was doing this, it would help the tendons and such stretch and be good. But it was just wreaking havoc on the pain I was having. And over time, wearing down, wearing down, wearing down, just like a rock grinding out a groove. And the labrum in there is like a seal. It goes in the socket. As a buffer between the ball and the socket in the hip joint. I think we have one in our shoulders, anywhere there's a ball and socket, which I believe those are the only two. But no, the knee's not a ball and socket. Smart wife chiming in. Dr. Amanda. I can't, it's so pretty. I'm bleeding. Okay. This will be edited out as well. Yeah. So, long story short, they said it's going to be non-intrusive. I've been doing my internet research. You know how trustworthy that is. But if you go on to a lot of different sites, a lot of different doctors have post recovery care, post-op care, pre-op, what to expect. Just different sources to what to expect. So my doctor told me what to expect, but I don't So I took it with a grain of salt. Here he's a great surgeon, and that's all that really matters. I don't care what his bedside manner lacks at. So I went in there for surgery, and when I come out, I'm in excruciating pain. I've had knee surgery before for meniscus tear. I separated my shoulder last year and tore 3 ligaments. This beat all because of the intrusiveness that they ended up having to do. They had to go in and shave so much. They couldn't repair the labrum because it was torn in 2 places. They usually, so I should say, they insert screws. They screw screws into the femur bone. No, not femur. The hip, the pelvis. Inside that socket, they anchor these 3 screws, and then they suture up the labrum. It's like an O-ring, fellas. Mechanical women too. You know what an O-ring is. Basically, kind of the buffer, the little cushion in there. Well, mine has been torn in this left hip for twice, 2 different places. So he said it was irreparable. So basically, he just removed that. Didn't talk to me after surgery. He talked to my family. So I didn't ask all the questions I wanted answered. So I don't know if that's going to cause me more arthritis later on in life. We'll get to that. Maybe I'll get some cadavers O-ring and put it in there. She's looking at me like she wants to go to sleep. But so I'm in excruciating amount of pain. They had me on Dilaudid and morphine right after surgery, and I was still writhing. I mean, just most people with the hip impingement have, before they have surgery, they have inflammation and pain in their groin. I didn't have this. I've never had this. I've had pain and inflammation on the outside of my hip, even into my butt area, kind of around that joint. And it's caused nerves in my back to screw up. And this is finally what I figured out. The back pain was getting much worse than the hip pain. Well, that all ended today. The back pain being worse than the hip pain. The process was different than most people have when they go get the hip impingement. It's usually non-intrusive. Just takes, they just shaved off the bad things, suture up the labrum, good to go. They totally worked a number on me as far as shaving the bone, shave the bone. And in my next journal, I'll post the pictures of the before and after, and I might even put up a video of what they actually do when they're doing the shaving of the bone. It doesn't sound very pleasant. The videos don't look very pleasant, but it really gives you insight to arthroscopy and what's being done in here. I'm curious. Pretty cool procedure. Right, advance in medical science, and this the hip impingement is very relatively new. I mean, it was around the early 80s, late 70s, just a little bit, but that's the very beginning. It's like the internet. The internet's been about the same, but it's gotten progressively more. I'll show you my bandage. So they basically made 4 holes, 4 incisions, and sutured those up. But all the rest they just kind of shaved and sucked out. Well, they put bandages on me today. When I got home from the hospital, excruciating pain. I've never been shot before. I can't speak to that. But if I could imagine what being shot in the groin with a gun is like, let's say 22 caliber. That's what it felt like. So I was feeling inflammation, burning, just throbbing pain all at once. And on a scale of 1 to 10, which I can't say 10 because I don't know what the most good. For me, it was 8 and 9 today. I was moaning. I could not get comfortable. I was trying my leg in every different kind of position. So this is the bleeding that occurred. You see you kind of see where on my hip. These are the bandages and the blood and the they use a lot of fluid. 50 pounds of pressure. They put fluid in there, antibacterial fluid to help flush out gunk, possible bacteria, possible any kind of fluids that help heal, and inject fluids stay in there to help heal the healing process. But today when I woke, well, I didn't really fall asleep, but until much later when the pain subsided a little bit. But a lot of what I didn't know is the pain, excruciating pain today, was caused by the pressure of this fluid in there, and they didn't tell me I may experience that. A lot of people stay one night in the hospital after the surgery, even though it's the basic kind. They just shave a little bit of the bone, so you have more flexibility. I've always had problems riding motorcycles. I don't horse ride too often, but that sort of thing causes very much discomfort in my hips. And later on, I figured out that was causing a lot of my back. Pivoting, at the hips. When your hips are off, I use the analogy, it's like a car's chassis frame being off, because once that's off, it affects everything. The way the car goes, the tires wear out quicker, and it's the same thing with this. Because my hips are giving me so much problems, I have to adjust. I walk differently. It puts pressure on other parts of my body, just like in other injuries. So, just day one, I'm just blessed and thankful to the Lord Jesus for making this feel so much better. But I was concerned today because this was blood red just coming out. I got over the bed, and they told me it was going to be a lighter color, so I thought, well, the fluid out there said, I'm bleeding. I was lightheaded. It felt horrible. My wife is so awesome. She's a trooper. She was just there for me, and she couldn't sleep last night. Before the surgery, I couldn't either because we're so excited. We're actually moving into a new home this week. Well, it's important because I'm just thinking about it makes me hurt, and she's just awesome. I just wanted to say that because my wife is awesome, and she's been helping so much, and with a great attitude. So, where they put the IV in my earlier. There's my hospital brochure. Tell me to wrap it up. So, that's the day one. Just wanted to share that, and I just think I got on the internet and I couldn't find a lot of helpful videos that people have posted. So I want to do my part to say, hey, this is what I went through, and if you have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer them. But right now, this is a journey I'm starting as well. So I can get up on crutches, I can get around. They said if they would have had to anchor those sutures for the labral repair, I would have been able to put zero weight on that leg. Now, they say I can put a little bit, but movement is terribly painful. I cannot move my legs forward. I can kind of bend my knees, but when backwards, if I'm standing up, I can kind of semi-draw them up when I'm in bed towards myself, but it's very painful. But other than that, after this initial pain onslaught today, I'm praying that tomorrow is not like the sore day, if you worked out or if you surgery on something. So, I've got pain medicine, I've got anti-inflammatories, I'm hoping I can sleep and antibiotics, of course. No inflammation, so we've got to be real careful with that seepage and that draining. I can change my bandages tomorrow if it needs, but today's Monday, and March 3rd, 2014, so hopefully Wednesday I can change the bandages, rebandage it up, and go from there. So, just hoping here's to not hurting like I was today, like a little, you know what. Alright. So, any questions, post them in the comments. I'll try to do my best to relay the information back, and we can discuss. Maybe I can learn something. I always want to.